I took a trip up to Boston this morning to spend the day with Rachel Cossar. She has a company called Choreography for Business, and she is going to show me some techniques on how to be a little more fluid and graceful when I'm in the dining room.
I danced professionally with Boston Ballet for about 10 years, and prior to that I was a rhythmic gymnast on the Canadian national team.
I mean, your posture right off the bat, as soon as she walked into the room, I was like, oh.
I've been working mostly with front of house staff, and so I do like to incorporate as much as I can some of the more like heavy lifting, and there's a way that you have to engage your body physically to do that safely. So there's like a safety and health component to the program, and then on top of that there are layers of presence and poise and elegance, and then of course the nonverbal component of moving through a dining room and communicating with guests without always having to use words. Now you're at the bar.
Yes.
And this is one of my favorite plays on words, right? The bar in the ballet world, which is spelled differently, B-A-R-R-E, and that's actually the foundation of where we all start as dancers our day. Now we're gonna actually start in a first position, okay? And so to do that properly and not get these weird misaligned kind of feet out but knees forward, we're gonna stick one foot out at like a 45-degree angle, and then thinking of your hip as rotating in its socket from the top, rotate the foot so it's turned out, perfect, and then bring that underneath you. So now you have one leg that's turned out and one leg that's parallel. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, so out, rotate the leg, bring it underneath you. Now when we're in this position, just for now, let's have the other arm that's not at the bar on your hip. Plie, so demi, so plie, and don't have your heels pop off the ground. And then you're gonna push into the ground to straighten. Down, and up. Yeah, if you hear fast, it's so fine. Down, down, and up. Okay, just do one.
My dance background is zero. Yeah. How much have you had to adapt bringing ballet into a dining room? I mean, I'd imagine every restaurant's different, every space is different.
Yeah, a lot of the foundations and the posture, that is the same whether I'm coaching restaurateurs and waitstaff and bartenders or salesmen, fundraisers, consultants, right? That's a human thing. But when we get to these details, like this particular exercise of finesse and elegance and intention, that is definitely more relatable to finer dining institutions. Like someone comes into the restaurant and you're like, hello, like please this way. And it's like, so this move that we're doing becomes something that they do.
Right.
So we'll do that, we'll have the arm forward, and we'll actually look at our hand. So without looking like this, you'd never want to show the top of your head, right? So you look down, almost peering over something, and then you open it and open your head at the same time. And then we're gonna actually just bring it down and then place it back on the hip. And so doing these things with intention is the difference. It's like that small difference that makes the biggest impact.
Right.
This is the work we do at the bar that then becomes very applied when we sit down at the table.
Right.
As a server, you walk through a space and you're constantly identifying areas of tweaking or noticing things like, okay, that person needs another drink or whatever.
The mind is like a mile a minute.
You would never walk through a space only looking front, right? That being said, you don't want to be like, okay, right? Either.
Right.
Because a lot can be told by your walk. So you personally have this little mannerism in your walk that's like a little like step, hip, sway. So you do that like step, hip, sway, step, hip, sway, step, hip, sway.
Which is exactly what you don't want.
Every time you walk. But if you're, which is fine, and I think it's a great walk if you're walking down the street with friends, whatever, but
walking down the streets of New York, that's what you want. Walking through the dining room here, you don't want that.
I want you to pretend like you're on one of those moving walkways in an airport. So it's that feeling of eating space but doing so in this super gliding, smooth way. And also, like, you know, look around, like, don't be afraid to move your head. And this time, I think it's also probably rare for them to be moving through the space with nothing in their arms.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna add a little prop, and then we'll also add this bean bag. It's that feeling of keeping your head level so that you're not doing this, right? And you're not like doing other weird things, number one. And number two, it's just a reminder. It's like this downward pressure that you have to push against. So it automatically gives you that same feeling, because if you start going like this, it's gonna be like bouncing up and down on your head. I see a totally different walk.
No, it feels different because I'm mindful of
Yeah.
being a little more fluid, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you can show up to the table and be so graceful and welcoming and open. And then when it comes down to moving stuff around, like your legs are like, okay, like let's move in space and not have this upper body all of a sudden have to start doing things that like it's not built for.
Like the way that you walk and approach a table is so like, I don't even think about that when I'm like dining out, but it's like one of the baseline introductory, this is what the deal is, you know, this is the experience you're gonna have from me as a server. I honestly, I don't even know like what the move is. Like, is it this first?
Show.
Turn.
Pour. And then I would just, for you, I would just turn it a little bit more. But say I guess over here, and turn it again.
Got it. That was like effortless. Great job.
And there's very little that I would change about that. I think that was really good.
Hello. I have a sparkling rosé for you.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna do it again.
There's this thing that happens frequently where people, waiters show up to their table physically and verbally at the same time, right? So instead of showing up and allowing this message to reverberate, people are like, hello. You see what I mean? So when you showed up, you showed up physically and verbally at the same time and said hello, which is just unnecessary, right? So you can actually show up to your table and give them a second to round out their conversation before you start interjecting with words. The other thing is, you did a great job with the label, okay? However, you showed it mostly to my spot, right? And the other thing is, this is not featuring the wine. This is featuring the wine and my body, right? So I actually prefer if there's a little bit of this like
negative
a framework
space
with the arms, right? So again, we get into that structure of using the arms in like an extended way. So then all of a sudden you can be like this and you can more freely kind of move this around without having to like...
Right.
So then of course you would do the whole opening thing, which we're just not gonna do right now, and pouring it.
It's crazy in like those 5 seconds, you know, how many things you're translating with body language. I certainly have a lot more respect for servers.
Oh, what they do
oh my
is
gosh,
amazing.
It really, I mean, I knew that already, but this is certainly, you know, proving it again. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. If you'd like to see more, click here.
Don't stick.
It's ruined. It's ruined. Now what?